Hi guys, welcome back to Footy Vlogs. We're back with another video. At this time, it's the First Division review show of the weekend's matches. We have 4 matches to review, so we'll get back into it. We're joined with JP and Keno. Lads, how are you getting on?
Oh, good. Gosh.
Oh, bud.
Good stuff. Happy days. Yeah, so we'll kick off with at Ferry Carrick Park. Sorry, excuse me. Where Wexford were 2-1 victories or 2-1 victors over Athlone Town. Harry Groom with the goal in the 33rd minute, and then Aaron Dobbs with his first to the club back at Wexford in the 55th minute. And then also then Athlone getting a consolation goal in the 89th minute with Glenn McCauley. And of course, there was a send-off in the match as well on the 42nd minute where Cian Kelly was sent off for Athlone. Your thoughts on that there, Keno?
Yeah, look, I have to say now, these are the games Wexford need to be winning. These are the games that, if they have any aspirations of finishing in around the bottom half of the playoffs, that, your Athlone is a team that you need to be beating. They done the job. They got the job done. They were obviously well beaten by Treaty. They got their side together against Cove, and got the result there. And now they're at the building on that with another one against Athlone. So they'll be feeling confident now going into the next couple of weeks. Big win for them. Good to see goals coming as well from Dobbs and stuff like that, because they'll be looking to get him scoring. Dini last week as well. So things are good for them at the minute. I still think they're going to be work in progress, but there's no reason why they shouldn't finish in around the bottom half of the playoffs. So in around, fighting it out for that probably last spot or so.
Yeah, they made a good start. Like obviously Wexford have two wins, and then they just the one loss. Where with Athlone they have 2 games played and they've lost both their matches. What are your thoughts on that, JP? Or
Aye, well, from what we've seen of this, Wexford deserved all 3 points and probably should have won by more. But look, they'll take it. A win's a win. It doesn't matter by how many or how you do it. But they looked pretty dominant, especially in the second half, and they played 10 men. And I don't know what Cian Kelly was up, what he was at. Coming up to half time, he's tried to buy himself a penalty, and then in the end the referee sold him a second yellow card and then a red card, and from then it was an uphill task for Athlone basically. But Wexford will be delighted. They got off the pretty bad start away at Treaty, but they've responded with, or was it home to Treaty? Can't remember.
Home, yeah.
home.
But they've responded pretty well. They've come from behind away at Cove Ramblers and won 3-2 in that game, and they've won 2-1 in this game. And up next, they have to play Waterford. So it was vital for them if they want to be in and around the playoffs, fighting it out for the last spot. It was vital that they picked up points in the last 2 games that they did, and they've picked up maximum points, and that leads them into the Waterford game now with confidence. As for Athlone, they've lost 2 from 2. They've got a good manager there, and Martin Russell. He's been around the league with Footy and Limerick, and he knows how to get out of the first division. But the squad that he has, compared to what Paul Dillon and Adrian Carberry had last year, is probably weaker. So he's got a task on his hands to try and get this team towards the playoffs. And look, football's a funny old game. You can start off badly and you can get it together, and all of a sudden you can reach your targets come the end of the season. But look, a great start for Wexford. First start for Athlone, but I don't think Athlone will be panicking right now. But Wexford will be delighted, and they'll be going into that Waterford game full of confidence.
Yeah, that's it. It could be a long season for Athlone. We'll see. As you said, football's a funny old game. There's teams down around there which will be fighting it out around there for the playoff places, like your Coves and your Brays or whatever. So we'll see what happens. A long season. There's only 3 matches played or whatever, so far. So, it'll be an interesting season. Move on to the next second match. it was in Eamon DC Park, a very entertaining match between Galway and Waterford. You know, two teams that are kind of hinted to be up towards the top end of the table come November. Obviously, Waterford came out of the blocks, 16 minutes. Junior Quaterna with a goal, and then they followed that up then with a strike from Eddie Nolan then on the 37th minute. And then basically Galway came back into it, inspiring a comeback. Jordi Ariemo, another goal for the club. I think it was his first goal, if I'm correct in saying. Was a great header in the box, and then obviously Stephen Wells then getting the equaliser in the 75th minute. So it was a 2-2 draw. There's a red card as well in the 86th minute for Richard Taylor. So I think an entertaining game. I'd say overall the balance of play, I think it was a fair enough result. With Waterford, they've played 3 matches. They're still unbeaten. The same with Galway. They've only played 2. So I'd say both of them can be happy. Early days. What are your kind of thoughts on that there, Keno?
Yeah, night and day. Thank you as well. A couple of Waterford fans offered me the LOI TV. So if any fans have bought the game and have watched it already, and you want to share, feel free to share. I'll be delighted to watch the games. So I did see this. I was absolutely. I didn't know the result, to be honest. I knew I was watching this. I knew I got an LOI TV, so like my mind was elsewhere. Obviously, Friday night at the Pats game, and I didn't even see the results. I was watching it, and I seen Waterford going 2-0 up, and I was like, Jesus, this is a big win here. First half, Waterford bossed the start to finish. They were excellent. Then it was a game of 2 halves, the old phrase, but it was, and Galway really came into it then, and they fully deserved a point in the end. Waterford to be bitterly disappointed after being 2-0 up, and being so comfortable. It was 2-0 up, or it was game over, and they put their foot off the pedal, and Galway were there to punish them, and that's a big point for Galway, because you're 2-0 down. It's a bigger point for Galway than it was for Waterford, considering they were 2-0 down and they're just getting into the game, just getting into the season, and to come back like that showed an awful lot of character. Terry Lamb was buzzing, by the way. The great atmosphere there again. Obviously, first half it was fairly flat when Waterford were knocking the ball around for fun, but second half they really got behind them, especially when the first goal went in. They really started to believe, and Waterford were struggling a little bit in the game, but look, different night and day between the 2 halves. And I think if you were to look at it, because Galway were so on top for the second half, and because Waterford were well on top for the first half, a draw was a fair result. But in saying that, you shouldn't be drawing the game. You're 2-0 up in, that's the disappointing factor for Waterford. But Waterford have now, they're still unbeaten, and they're still probably the team to beat, in my opinion. But Galway, I think we said it last week, JP, about it doesn't sit right with me the way they bossed the first division last year, finishing second, and fell in the playoffs, and it's something that I'd say John Caulfield isn't happy with, and he obviously wants to finish first and secure himself into the Premier Division without going through any playoff crap. So, it's an early season game, nothing's won or lost, but Galway didn't lose anything on Waterford and vice versa. So, a draw, a fair result for me, but a cracking game of football.
Yeah, and JP, your thoughts on that there? I'll say the two teams will be battling against each other for that top spot towards the end of the season. So do you think they'll be happy enough with the draw? Or obviously Waterford with 2 goals ahead, they probably aren't happy, considering they conceded.
I think this game went exactly how we predicted. We didn't think it in the preview show. We didn't think that Galway would win it. I think in the end, the three of us all settled that it would be a draw. But Waterford will be more disappointed in Galway because they were 2-0 up and cruising by the sounds of it. But as we know throughout the years, with John Caulfield, his teams are never beaten until the final whistle goes, and that's exactly how it was in this game. And he'll be delighted with the start. They missed out the first week, and he'll be delighted that his team has picked up 4 points from two games against Waterford and Cork. Cork will probably be up there as well behind them. It's no great. He hasn't lost any ground in Waterford. Ian Morris will be disappointed because he would have wanted they lay down an early season marker on Galway, because I'm sure he will see Galway as his main competitor of getting out of this league at the first attempt and not having to go through any playoff stuff. And John Caulfield will be using that playoff defeat as motivation for his team. They go this year and pip Waterford the title. And I think one thing that let them down last year was that they let Shells get ahead of them, and they probably know that they can't let that to happen this year with Waterford. The fact that they've come back at 2-0 down and got a point out of it, they'll see it as a great point. And they'll be hoping then that when it's not Waterford's turn to play, that they can be within that striking distance and they can win that game in hand that they'll have and maybe go level or above Waterford. But these are the two for me that are going to be battling it out for the title. And I think if one of them doesn't go up, I think the other maybe go up in the playoff. But as we've seen last year and the year before, UCD and Longford both came out of nowhere in the playoffs and ended up getting promoted in the one-off final. And I think that's what the one-off final creates. It creates an opportunity for the first division team to cause an upset, and the Premier Division teams treat it as, I don't know what way they explain it, but on the two-legger they always had that insurance policy of the second leg. They get themselves out of trouble, and these two, now make no bones about it, if these are the top two and one of them actually manages to get to the playoff final this year, whoever finishes second bottom in the Premier Division will need to be worried, because I think these two teams have Premier Division quality about them. And if these are the two that are in the playoffs, we can't write off Treaty, we can't write off Wexford or Bray, Cork. But early doors, I think, this was a good marker for both teams, and I'm sure we'll see pretty much more of the same as the season goes on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, team coming up from that first division, they obviously have that bit of momentum because they've won the semi-final and then the final of the playoffs and so on, so that they always have that kind of advantage. So yeah, I tend to agree with you on that point there. But another match then was Friday night was Cove against Treaty, 0-0 draw. Overall, I'd say Cove are going to be happy enough considering they tend to struggle, but Treaty obviously with a win on the opening night, and then on their opening night, and then they obviously another draw, so they have 4 points from possible 6. They'll be happy enough. Your thoughts on that there, Keno?
Yeah, look, I didn't see this game. Probably, even if I had LOE TV, probably a bit of the game would probably flick over when I'm sitting there. I didn't see much about it, I have to be honest. I didn't even get a chance to read up on it. But look, I'm just looking at it completely at the result alone. I'd say Treaty would be definitely the much happier there. Cole will be obviously disappointed considering they lost so late on to Wexford. And, they scored 2 goals in that game as well. And that was actually a great game. I don't know. I didn't see it back. I'm not going to waffle about it. I'm not going to even pretend to waffle about it. I didn't see it back. But Treaty United would be definitely the happier of the two, considering they're 4 out of 6 at the minute.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and what are your thoughts on that there, JP? Or would you agree with Keno? Or
I think because Treaty had the night off, the weekend off last week, they didn't really have that chance to build on their opening night win. So they'll be delighted that they get a point away from home against Cove, who'll be disappointed the week before that they've led twice and lost 3-2 at home to Wexford. But I think they both will be happy with a point. Cove obviously be happy with a point, get a point on the board as soon as possible. Treaty be happy with a point because basically, as I said, they had the weekend off and didn't have the chance to build on the momentum that they got on the opening night of the season. But Treaty are going to be a team that are going to be in the round of playoffs again this year. And a 0-0 draw away from home is never a bad result, and they'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, and I read somewhere that there was, I think, nearly 900 people in attendance, which is great. I just highlights Keno's point that, for a first division match, between Cove and Treaty is not bad. I also read that there was Jack Brady, the Treaty keeper, made a good few saves, to keep Treaty in the match. So you kind of, before you went into the match, you probably think Treaty would dominate or whatever, but didn't seem to be that there. Treaty, Jack Brady kept them in it. I think John Kavanagh had a chance at the end and so on. So yeah, no, it'll be tight down around the bottom of the table and the playoffs. So it'll be interesting enough. And then we'll just finish off the last match then. Last night in Bishopsgate between Longford Town and Cork City, it ended in a 0-0 draw. Obviously Cork had a draw on the first night of the season, then a win, and then a loss. Then a win on the first night of the season, then a loss, and then a draw. So they're still up around. They're still in third place. Where at Longford, that was Longford's first match this season, due to the 9-team league. So they just started off with a draw. I'd say they'll be happy enough with that there, get a point on the board. Your thoughts on that there, JP?
Longford will be delighted to get a point on the board because their game was called off and then they had the weekend off. And some teams had three games played by close of play on Friday night, and Longford still hadn't kicked their season off, which is a bit of a shambles really, but it is what it is, and it's the way the league is shaped up this season, and hopefully for next season that wrong is put right and teams are not having nights off and that everybody's playing every week. And but Longford will be delighted to get the point. For Cork, they'll be disappointed. They would have seen this as a opportunity to get another one. A great opening night win away at Bray. They battled but lost against Galway last week in front of a packed Turner's Cross.
5,000,
We spoke about the attendances there. A Cove and 900 was excellent. And then you look at across the Cork end, they're getting 5,000 at Turner's Cross. And it's good to see these first division clubs progressing their gates, and it's the only way really they generate the income in this league is they get the crowds in the door. And Cork will be disappointed that they didn't win this, practically because it was Longford's first competitive game of the season. But I know that for the foreseeable future, they're without Colin Healy in the dugout as well. And our thoughts are with him, and hopefully we see him back in the not too distant future. But look, I think in hindsight, both teams may look back at it and see it as a good point. But 0-0, 0-0, not much. Don't think they talk about, but the season's up and running now for Longford.
Yeah, that's it. And after putting 6 goals past Bray on the opening night, Cork, haven't scored in 2 matches. So, they just only picked up a point, because they lost to Galway last week. So, there could be a few alarm bells ringing there for the fans. But then again, it's obviously, it's early days, There was a goal actually ruled out in this match with Barry Coffey. So Cork did come close, So, Keno, your overall thoughts on that one?
Yeah, look, it's tough for Longford considering, look, what is it now? The 5th of March or something? Was it something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, 6th of March, yeah.
Yeah, 6th. So they obviously, their first game was the 5th of March. And, you walk all over pre-season from Christmas or from the 1st of January. You walk right the way through for the first week of the season. Now, another game was called off. There's nothing you can do about it. But you're walking right through for that game. And you have them players pumped up all through pre-season, building. And you're trying to get them in the best possible position. And then for that game to be called off, you're after having the players up here. They're probably going to drop down a little bit. And it's probably, you're probably going to drop the training low down a little bit yourself for the team, and then you're trying to bring it back up again for the game in 2 weeks. Now the good thing is with Longford, they don't need to worry about not having a game now, unless weather or anything. But they've got their game out of the way now that they weren't playing. So that I think they're back now each week for a while anyway, and I think they'd be very happy with the point, considering it's the first game. Cork at 3 in, and that would have made such a big difference. Good enough crowd as well, which was really good to see. I don't know the exact number, but it looked like there was a great number there. And it's excellent to see. It's excellent to see, a first division game and the first division clubs really getting the crowds in, because, like I says, we all get into games with my kids. We all go to games with my kids, and like I said, you're just trying to capture the imagination of the kids and what could really happen here. And the more they go to the games, the more of a chance you have of getting that magic moment that the kids just stick with that club down for their life, And I think we're seeing that now. But in terms of the game, look, like I said, if I was Longford, I'd be buzzing with that, because them 3 games, people don't realise. Like people like fans and stuff like that, we wouldn't really realise what it's like to play a game. We all say, Jesus, this was, they're 3 games in, but we're going to be fresher. It's not like that, and there's a lot more to it nowadays than there would have been years ago. So, you're looking at the game on paper, they're saying, I'll take a draw against Cork every day of the week. I don't think alarm bells will be ringing in terms of goals not being scored or anything. I do think they'll hit form, and I do think Cork will be up there. But look, it's obviously Colin is obviously going through something with his family or something at this minute in time. So he'll be still in and around the place. I've no doubt he'll be still in contact with the coaches. But I still think Cork will be up there. And look, when Colin is ready to come back into management, I think Cork, obviously he's after taking a break, so he will be back at Cork. And look, I think Cork will only benefit with a manager like him. So, I think he's going to be a big loss to Cork, but I mean that in the nicest possible way, in terms of how highly I rate him as a coach, And I think what he's done the back end of last season to now, he's really taken the club again by the scruff of the neck. So, I hope whatever's going on gets sorted, and we do see him back in the dugout when the time is right, because look, it's not something you want to see, and hopefully he gets back. And Cork, I still think he'll be up there this year. I still think they'll be fighting. I don't think they'll be as close to Waterford as many people think, but it's saying in the playoffs they could cause real upsets, especially with teams in 9th in the Premier. You still wouldn't fancy going down to Turner's Cross.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and also just mention fair play to Longford, who they wore their away kit, the yellow and the blue, in solidarity with the people of Ukraine, and then they I think they put the Ukraine flag on their scoreboard as well as I think.
Was that why they wore the yellow? Was it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I think they donated something. I think it was half the gate receipts to the Red Cross. So fair play to Longford. Massive credit for that. It's good.
Yeah, there's a few clubs now. In fairness, fair play to Longford. There's a few clubs doing things. I know Harps are actually doing a few things there.
Doing a collection, food collection and so on, and clothes collection.
It's great to see,
Yeah, fair.
I didn't know that now. I didn't know that's why they wore the yellow. I was wondering why we were in yellow as well.
Yeah. Well, they just happened to have a yellow and blue kit, so they said they'd wear it just in solidarity with the people, So, no, fair play to them on that there, But yeah, that's basically it, lads. Thanks for coming on. Leave a like on the stream, and if you're not subscribed already, drop a wee subscribe on the channel. Helps the channel to grow and so on. And cheers to lads for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ash.
Cheers, lads.